You are standing in your living room in the middle of February. The furnace has been running since October. You can hear it kick on right now, that low roar from the basement, and you already know what it costs you because you saw the bill on the counter this morning and you turned it over so you would not have to look at it. And here's the part that gets under your skin. You are still cold. You are wearing a sweater in your own house. The air near the ceiling is warm and the air around your feet is not. And that machine is burning money to heat a space you are not even standing in. Now picture a farmhouse outside Charm, Ohio, in Holmes County. It is the same February. It is 9 degrees outside. Inside that house, there is one fire, and it was lit at 6 in the morning, and it burned hard and fast for about 2 hours, and then it went out, on purpose. And it is now 10 o'clock at night, and that house is warm. Not warm near the stove, warm in the back bedroom, warm by the window. The family that lives there has never owned a furnace. They have never bought a gallon of heating oil, and the thing keeping them warm is not a fire at all. It is a pile of brick. I'm going to show you exactly how that works. And before we are done, I'm going to tell you about a stove design older than the light bulb, written up in a government bulletin that quietly stopped being printed, that turns one small armful of wood into a full day of heat. Stay with me, because this is one of those things that, once you understand it, you cannot un-understand. You will never look at your furnace the same way again. Let me tell you how much I wasted before I learned this. I did everything the modern way. I put in a high-efficiency furnace. Then, because I wanted to feel independent, I bought a top-of-the-line airtight wood stove, $3,200. The dealer told me, you choke the air down at night, you let it smolder, you wake up to coals. So that is what I did. I fed that stove cord after cord. I damped it down every night, and every single morning, I woke up to a cold house and a stovepipe full of black creosote. I was burning close to $2,800 a winter between the propane and the wood, and I was still cold. The whole time, the answer was 40 minutes up the road, and a man named Mose Troyer was about to make me feel like a fool in the kindest possible way. I met Mose through a sawmill connection near Berlin. I was standing in his kitchen, and I made some comment about his stove, and he sort of smiled, and he said, "That is not the stove, that is the chimney," and he walked me over to it. It was a great mass of brick and plaster, taller than me, sitting right in the center of the house, with rooms built around it. There was a small iron door at the bottom, no bigger than a bread box. He opened it, and he showed me the firebox, and then he showed me how the smoke did not go straight up. It wound back and forth through channels inside all that brick before it ever reached the sky. You burn it hot, he told me, hot and fast and clean. Then you shut it, and the brick holds the day. Here's the science, because the science is the whole thing. Wood does not heat your house, heat does. And there are two different ways to move heat. One way is to warm the air and blow it around, which is what a furnace does. And warm air rises straight to your ceiling and does you no good standing on the floor. The other way is radiant heat. Radiant heat travels in a straight line and warms solid objects directly. The walls, the floor, the chair, your body, the way the sun warms your face on a cold, clear day, even when the air is freezing. Masonry gives you the second kind. Now, brick and stone have what is called thermal mass. They are slow to heat and slow to cool. A burst of fire heats them, and then they let that heat back out, gently, for hours and hours. So you do not keep a fire going all day. You build one fierce, clean, fast fire in the morning, and that fire burns so hot it leaves almost no creosote and almost no smoke. And all of that heat is captured by the brick as the smoke snakes through those internal channels instead of flying up the chimney. Then you close the damper, and the fire is done, and the brick radiates warmth into your rooms for the next 12, 16, 18 hours. One small fire, a whole day of heat. The chimney becomes the furnace. This is not folklore. The principle is documented. The U.S. Department of Agriculture put out farmers' bulletins back in the 1930s on heating the farm home efficiently, and the writers understood masonry and thermal storage perfectly well. A researcher named David Lyle spent years cataloging these heaters and published a thorough book on masonry stoves back in the 1980s, tracing the design through Scandinavia, Germany, Austria, and Russia, where families had been heating stone houses on a fraction of the wood for centuries. Even Benjamin Franklin was writing about how wasteful an open fire is, how most of the heat goes right up the flue. The knowledge was never lost. It was just never sold to you. And that is the real story here. There is no villain in a black hat. There is just money. After the war, the catalogs filled up with cheap, stamped steel, airtight stoves you could order for a few dollars and bolt together in an afternoon. And then central heating arrived, and the fuel oil man and the gas company built an entire business on the most beautiful product ever invented, which is a bill. A bill that comes every single month and never stops. A masonry heater has no monthly bill. You build it once. There is no marketing budget for a pile of firebrick. Nobody runs an ad campaign for a thing you only buy one time. So it simply fell out of the building books, out of the extension pamphlets, out of the ordinary American memory in about one generation. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You were thinking, that is fine for a man building a house from scratch, but I already own my home, and I am not tearing out my living room to lay 4,000 pounds of brick. So listen close, because this next part is built specifically for the person who already has a house and a stove sitting in it. You do not build the whole heater. You build a heat bank around the stove you already own. You go to a masonry supply yard or a home center and you buy split firebrick, the dense kind rated for high heat, somewhere around $1 to $2 a brick. And for most stoves, you will want roughly 150 to 200 of them. You stack them, dry or lightly mortared, into a thick wall directly behind your stove and a low surround along the sides, and you set a course of them on the hearth in front. You are not enclosing the stove. You are giving the heat something to soak into. For under $200 and a Saturday, that stove of yours stops being a thing that is blazing hot for 2 hours and freezing by dawn, and starts being a thing that holds and gives back heat long after the fire is out. No permit, no contractor, no mason, just brick and patience. But here's the part Mose did not volunteer until I had been out there 3 or 4 times. The detail the plain folks do not hand to an outsider on the first visit. Do not lay that brick with ordinary bag mortar from the hardware store. Portland cement does not like heat. It cycles hot and cold, and within a couple of winters, it cracks and crumbles and spalls right off. What the old builders used was a clay mortar, fire clay and sand, mixed maybe 1 part to 3, with just enough water to hold together, sometimes a little lime. That clay flexes with the heat instead of fighting it, and it will outlast you. And if you can get your hands on soapstone for the facing instead of plain brick, do it, because soapstone holds more heat per pound than almost anything and gives it back slower and softer. That is the difference between a heat bank that works for one season and one that works for the rest of your life. There is a movement of people, mostly in their 50s and 60s and 70s, quietly rebuilding the things their grandparents knew before the catalogs and the salesmen got between them and the knowledge. This is one of those things. So here is what I want from you in the comments, and be specific. Tell me what you heat your house with right now. Tell me how cold it gets where you are on the worst night of the year, and tell me the square footage of the one room you most want to keep warm. I read them, and the right version of this depends on your answers. And if you would rather recover this kind of knowledge than keep renting it back from a utility company every month, subscribe, because we are pulling these methods out one at a time. Before I let you go, I want to walk you back through the one thing that trips people up, because some of you are going to try this and get a mediocre result and blame the brick. The mistake is almost always the fire. People take everything they learned from that airtight steel stove where you choke the air down and let it smolder all night, and they try to do the same thing here. Do not. A smoldering fire is a cool, dirty fire. It coats your channels in creosote, and it never gets the masonry hot enough to store a day's worth of heat. You want the opposite. You want a small load of dry, split hardwood, burned wide open, flames roaring, for an hour or two until it is nearly all coals, and then you close the damper and you walk away, hot and fast, then shut it down. The other 2 mistakes are using the wrong mortar, which we covered, and setting your brick too far from the stove so the heat never reaches it. Keep the mass close. Burn clean and hot. Close it up. That is the whole secret. And it is not really a secret at all. It is just something nobody had a reason to sell you. Next time, I'm going to show you how those same farmhouses got all their hot water off that one little fire. No tank, no electric element, just a coil of copper and a principle worked out back in 1868 that moves hot water through a house with no pump and no power at all. You are going to want to see how simple it is.